Hi, this is Brant from TradeGuild.blogspot.com, and it is Sunday night, pretty late, and I'm looking forward to the week ahead, see what's going to happen with the market. We're at kind of a crossroads. In my opinion, as of Thursday night, it looked like the market had drawn its last breath. It looked like it wasn't going to go much further, and then Friday morning, the GDP numbers came out before the bell, and the economy was weaker than expected, and Wall Street loved that. The reason Wall Street loved that, of course, is because the August 8th Fed meeting is coming up, and with the weaker numbers, fears over inflation are diminished, and possibly we won't see another rate hike. Now, how possible is that? The Fed funds futures are pricing in a 20, I think a 26%, something like that, chance that we are going to see a hike. So, for all intents and purposes, no hike is expected. That could change when the unemployment numbers come out, jobless claims, I think it is on Friday. But for now, the market was happy with that, and it rallied. And we're going to take a look at what was going on here so we can figure out where we stand. Okay, here we are looking at the Dow Jones Industrials. And let me get rid of this line so we have a clean page. Here we go. Here's a downtrend line I'm going to draw for you. And you can see as of Thursday, and here's what we look like Thursday. We were at resistance there, and we had these little dojis, and it looked like this is as far as we go. Here's the GDP numbers that come out, and Friday, boom, right through it. The Dow broke through very nicely through last week's highs over here, and now it's attempting to get through July's highs over here. Remember these two levels, last week's highs and July's highs, because we're going to look at a couple of the charts, and it's significant. So let's move on to our next chart, which is going to be the S&P 500. And I was gardening today, I have to admit this, and I stabbed my thumb right through my thumbnail with some pruning shears. So if my trend lines are a little bit wacky tonight, bear with me, I apologize, but my thumb is thumping. Okay, enough of that. Here we are, SP 500. Let's draw that same trend line in and see what this looks like. There we go. Go right here, roughly. And you see we have this nice penetration of it. If I can grab my pen, here's last week's highs, and here we are at July's highs. So right here we're sitting at resistance. That's why this is kind of an interesting level. You know, what's going to happen? Is the market going to be turned back, or are we going to go forward? There was a nice little double bottom in the Dow. You can almost say that we had a double. I guess you could say we have a double bottom here in the S&P. Brian Shannon from Alpha Trends very astutely pointed out that this also could be an inverted head and shoulders, which would look like this. There's your shoulder, there's your head, here's your shoulder. Your neckline would be something like this. And well, that's not very nice looking, but you get the point, I think. Um, Also, we have a nice line of support that the S&P has held onto in creating these two bottoms. And I don't think I have it drawn, but I'll draw it for you real quick. Something that approximates it. That approximates it. And there you go. You see that nice balance off that support level. A little hammer there. Nice upthrusting day there. I mean, you couldn't really ask for anything cleaner than that if you're a bull, I guess. Um, let's move on to our next chart. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. And what do we see here? Okay, we have a, let me draw a downtrend line here. We can use this, or we could use something like this. In any case, we're pretty far from breaking any kind of a downtrend in the NASDAQ, and that's because tech has languished. It has not led. It's really taken a back seat as stocks have moved forward in the Dow and the S&P. Maybe it's well, obviously it's safety, safe haven, and the Nasdaq just didn't do much. So, like we were saying last week, you know, how can you have a great rally with tech not at least performing. Actually, it should be leading, and it hasn't done so. And if I can just break out my pen, I'll show you. Like I said, in the Dow, last week's highs were penetrated. Not until Friday were the highs even penetrated here. In the Dow, we're all the way up here. We're up here by the July highs, and you can see we're pretty far. We've got a ways to go, 100 points there before we get up to those July highs. So you can see very clearly that tech has definitely been a drag. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look, if I can clean up this chart real quick. Let's take a look at an hourly chart here and see what we can see on, oh, there's half hour. There we go. Hourly, I'm going to zoom out for you. On an hourly chart, you see a double bottom. See that right there? Boom, boom. It's not very clear on a daily chart though. So we're also coming up to resistance, and pull out a pointer here. There's some resistance right about there, and it looks like it's filled that gap, and we're coming up to resistance. So this is, like I was saying, it's kind of an interesting area to be in. You know, is the market going to be turned back, or are we going to, you know, break through these levels and be into moving towards an intermediate trend reversal? Who knows? We'll see about that. I think lastly, maybe not lastly, I'll show you. Let's take a look at SMH. This is the semi holders ETF, and you can see, if I draw on a trend line here, I mean, just this hasn't even really, I mean, it's just penetrated that trend line, you know, way underperforming, way underperforming. Semis just have not been holding up well, and all of a sudden, boom, they're acting very well. KLAC has come out with earnings. I think their sales were up like 18% or something. You know, quite a few semiconductor stocks are looking pretty good. I listed a few on the tag board tonight, but I don't know. We're gonna have to see what happens here. We're gonna have to see what happens. Israel declared this ceasefire for 48 hours tonight, and that may be interpreted by the market as a start of something. My personal opinion on this matter, not that I want to get too much into opinions, but just strategically thinking, I can't see Israel at this point signing a ceasefire and walking away, and basically the Middle East preeminent fighting force would basically have drawn a stalemate with Hezbollah. Strategically, I don't think Israel can have that. I don't think Olmert could survive it, and Benjamin Netanyahu is not up in arms screaming. So something is going on. I'm not so sure about this ceasefire, and you know, if we're seeing a change in tactics towards this ground operations, this could be upon us very quickly. The Israeli IDF forces typically move in very fast, lightning speed. They surround their enemy, and you know, something like this could be on us within a day. So let's definitely keep our stops in place, and let's watch what happens here. Tomorrow is going to be a pivotal day. We'll see if these support levels are actually these resistance levels, if they break. And if they do, you know, we could be reclassifying an intermediate trend in the not too distant future. And we will keep an eye on it. Thanks for listening, and check back on the blog. I might have another post tonight. Thanks.